3, 2. Where's the? And we are live. So if anybody's watching this later in replay and seeing this at the very start, we usually BS for about 5 or 10 minutes to give everybody a chance to get here and everybody a chance to share it.
Hidden talents for 5 straight minutes.
Oh, go ahead.
No. you were actually sharing vital information. Go on.
Oh, no, it's just the same stuff I say all the time, which is, share the video, which I'm about to do. And I'm about to tag you guys so you can see it.
If you're just joining for the first time, you're noticing how cool Dan's glasses are.
I got a few pairs here, actually, for my glasses blog.
That's how you express your creativity? I love them.
I have
fun.
A few different ways. I should invite you to my glasses group, but you don't really be on Facebook.
Glasses group. Well, if you have an Instagram account for it, I will follow
that. I'm not.
You gotta do the gram. Facebook.
That's Nia's world.
It really is. Although you're pretty good at liking her pictures.
Let's see here.
I love how your audience already knows who Nia is. No introduction necessary.
For my birthday, a lot of people dropped in, and we actually got her to appear on camera for a few minutes.
She's so photogenic. Is she shy?
You should have that conversation with her. She's not only is she photogenic, but she's brilliant and funny and talented. She's wonderful on camera, but she has no desire.
She could just do French translation for everybody.
Yeah, she speaks like 7 languages. A lot of people dropped in, and we actually got her to appear. So if you're with us, just make sure you share the video, share it to groups, share it to stories, share it everywhere you can. We need your help getting popular.
I'm redoing my photo here. This is the look I give my child all the time. She's about 3. Don't climb on that. That's my picture. Michael, do you find it's incredibly hard to make Dan laugh?
Do I?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things that I say are to him are on a level that, like, my sense of humor, a lot, like, I wouldn't expect him to laugh. I have a pretty tragic sort of.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That might make me laugh though. Dark humor is funny because I don't usually have dark humor, so when I hear it, it always takes me by surprise.
Okay, yeah, I can go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ask Nia, because Nia's quite possibly the funniest person I know. If she thinks she's capable of making me laugh,
mm-hmm.
I'll have to tell some of the stories sometimes of the funniest, meanest things she's ever said to me. So
cold as ice.
Yeah, I don't think she was necessarily trying to be funny some of the times either. I'm looking for your tweet so that I can retweet it.
Okay, it's my very most recent tweet. Just look at my profile.
It
has a picture of Michael.
Let's see.
Oh, I see.
Oh, got a curly comment. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I didn't.
It's not my pinned tweet. It's the one right under it.
Yeah. Oh, that picture. She found it. She got an old picture with the hat. Michael, you
love that hat.
Gonna have to bring the hat one of these episodes.
Yeah, I know. I got to do it for the judge anyway, so we'll do a 2-fer.
I sold Girl Scout cookies to a local college, and I remember the grown-up college students in the lobby wearing hats like that, and I was like, that's so cool. It wasn't that tall, but that was a thing. What is that, like an Egyptian hat? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of a thing. I had started buying hats at this place called Global Village on the West Bank of the university. They had a lot of imported goods and whatnot. And
my mom loves that store.
Sorry?
Oh, I said I know that store. My mom loves it. That's a great store.
You have Minneapolis ties?
What is that, like an Egyptian hat? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess it was kind of a thing. Wow.
Why are we hearing that? How am I hearing that? Is that because mine's
Michael is sharing it, or somebody's sharing it.
I'm attempting to share it.
And so, I'm
going to close my Facebook account so that isn't me. Boop.
Right.
Just in case it was.
I'm going to be as soon as I can navigate this little. I don't know why I'm having trouble with this, Dan.
Did you see where I tagged you?
I'm not sure.
I can tag you again if that helps.
It automatically happens on.
Ooh.
Oh, maybe I've got it. I mean, check and see if I did it right.
Let's see here.
The weekly situation.
Yeah, this is the toughest part of the show is figuring out how to share the live video.
Only because I have more than one account.
Mm-hmm.
You shared a post, but you didn't. No, it looks like you shared the live video. We should be okay.
Okay. Well, then I'm closing all of that.
Oh, cool. So on StreamYard, in the comments section, some people can write, but I don't see. Welcome, Abby, says Diane Carol Palmanter. Thank you, Diane. Nia said no. Dan does not think I'm funny. So can we respond to them in the chat? I don't see how I can chat with them.
If you want private chat. So if you wanted to respond to them, you'd have to actually go to where they commented, which would either be YouTube or the various Facebook posts. This is showing the conglomeration of all the different things together.
Fascinating. What a cool thing.
So the idea is that, that we respond to them on the air.
Yeah, I'm trying, guys. I'll respond, I guess, with my voice, since I won't know exactly where.
Is that your fam?
Let me see where my family is. Who is saying hello?
I put it on the screen. Look on the screen.
Oh, Conscientious Crush. Yeah, yo, sis. That would be my sister.
Okay.
She's very conscientious.
So,
what's up, sis? Okay, what's up, everybody? Good to see you. Everybody's tuning in. Go ahead, Dan. Take it away.
I was throwing Diane's account up there. I think I did all. No, I was going to share it on LinkedIn too. Maya's been trying to get us to use LinkedIn more, so I'm going to try to do that, and then I will consider it.
Oh, I'm logged in as my husband.
You can share it on his page. We'll take his followers too. So for anybody watching, have you not shared the live video yet? And if you haven't, why not? We're waiting on you.
I'm writing as him. My wife is the most amazing person.
I do that on YouTube. My wife is logged in, or she never logs out. So I'll see people say something messed up. I'll go on these some stuff where like Prince fans are talking, and I'll just, well, how do you know? Who are you?
Yeah. So
my husband said that. So it's.
Oh, so yeah. So you're replying to the Prince fans as your wife. Yeah, right. I get it.
He said.
Are you seeing where?
No, what I'm got on my nails. Let me see. Okay, a little purple. This is, oh my gosh, this is gonna put me on blast on Instagram. But today I posted two different colors, this brown and this purple. But I photoshopped the purple on the brown fingers and the brown on the other two purple fingers so that I could save time, so I didn't have to re-swatch. It's Photoshop. I'm a lie. My whole life is a lie.
Oh, hey, Diane. Thank you for watching the show. We put a lot of work into it.
Oh, yeah. I was going to bring that up when Abby was asking about that. Soul Asylum did a live stream concert on Saturday that I think went very well.
Thank you, Brandy. See, when you say it like that, you implicate me in ways in which I have to respond.
I mean, I think it went very well.
That's great. It's supposed to look like that. It's hard work to make things look easy.
So are we ready to start for real?
Kick it. I'm logging in as myself on YouTube.
I have the privilege of introducing my co-host, one of the best drummers in the world, as ranked by several modern drum publications.
No.
One of the smartest people I know. And I'll stop with the platitudes because his face has said uncle. Michael does not like compliments. So, ladies and gentlemen, the great Mr. Michael Bland, all the way to my right.
All right. Well, he hails from Madison, Wisconsin, powder keg of the nation. Milwaukee's right there. Plays at the greater, what is it, Mount Sinai? Is that?
Yeah, that's my church.
That's it. All right.
Yeah, good memory.
Hammond organ playing, guitar slinging, not scared of black folks, upset with white folks. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Spiffy Neuman.
Thank you.
Woo,
woo. So
boo.
No, I said woo.
Oh, all right.
I will. There we go. I will take the turn this week to introduce our guest because I can't brag enough that this week's guest comes courtesy of my wife, who does not want me to say that because now then she feels there's pressure on her.
Too late.
But there's no need because it's going to be amazing, like every episode. And so Abbi is a comedian. Abbi is a nail artist, as we've already seen.
I won't do your nails though. Just my own.
And you also, I didn't know that you were also like an actress. Like I know I knew you did stand up, but I didn't know that you'd act, and I knew I'd seen you in some sketch comedy, but you actually do like serious acting as well.
I do acting and I do hosting things.
Well, you can teach Michael and I some stuff then.
Yes. We need to learn.
I told Dan I was just going to take this over.
Go ahead.
I might be lit the best, so that's just who people assume is the host, and then I'll just be asking you guys questions this whole time.
Are you criticizing my lighting?
Not at all. Not at all.
Alexa, video lights off.
No.
There, now you're
Oh my gosh. Okay, I don't know how to hook up Alexa to my lights, so that's next level.
Yeah, our whole house is smart stuff, and again, you should ask your friend whether or not she actually appreciates that or not, because it was my doing in collusion with her father. So.
Oh wow, her dad helped, because my mom is not into things that can hear you talk and then sell you stuff later. She's like, I don't want that thing spying on me. Turn it off.
My dad said, "What'd you say, Michael?"
I feel her on that.
Yeah, you
don't have any Alexa devices, do you, Michael?
Me? Are you kidding? Listen, if I wanted a white woman talking to me all day, I would have got one.
You get one that can at least cook and clean.
You know, you can have it be Samuel L. Jackson's voice though.
I don't need that either. I need to hear Nuggets all day in my ear. No thanks.
Nia used to get upset because I'd ask her for my news, and then she'd say, "Dan, here's your news." And then when Nia would ask for the news, she'd say, "Dan, here's your news." So I had to change it to say Nia.
Alexa was jealous. Alexa
Right.
did not recognize that you were married.
So,
see, that's what I'm saying. That's how they do.
All right, I'm ready to answer questions.
Well, I mean, we don't have necessarily any formal questions, but I am curious. First of all, how did you meet my wife? Because all I knew is just suddenly my wife was friends with a comedian, and my wife, you know, has music and entertainment in her past, but I believe it was through the nail art, right?
Right, which is funny that Nia speaks languages, because I love that, like, to find people that can also speak some foreign languages. But no, we met through my nail Instagram. Let me move my mic a little bit, because there we go, a little bit, there we go. I think I really started trolling her because she would post these really fun trips to Dollar Tree. This is like, I fell in love with this store before I realized that I live right next to one. That's how, like, it's by a highway, so it was really out of the way. Can you guys hear me? I think I lost you. Oh, there you go.
No, we're here. I muted myself so I could turn my video lights back on. So
I saw you talking to Alexa and it just looked like,
yeah.
Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know. Oh yeah, she posts Dollar Tree hauls and Dollar Tree things. And guys, if you've never shopped here, you don't need to buy anything anywhere else. Everything is available to you for one flat rate.
Is this a sponsorship?
Not even. It should be though. I don't know why they don't.
My Dollar Tree? That'd be tight.
Well, didn't Kim get the birthday supplies from Dollar Tree? Because that's where Nia got the ones from here.
You did.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can.
Yeah, it really is. You can get a pregnancy test at the dollar store, and then with the
I don't know
money,
if I trust that.
well, with the money you save, I say you could get like 14 more pregnancy tests, and you should probably test all of them just in case.
That sounds like about as good an idea as buying your condoms there. I don't see it. That don't sound like.
Are you a risk taker? Do you like to live on the edge?
I think I've actually looked into whether or not the Dollar Tree pregnancy test is like not safe, but is it like what's the word?
Accurate. I'm sure they're accurate.
And they are, apparently, according to like whatever, you know, Business Insider or whoever I was reading at the time.
Michael's not sure, but let me tell you, all it is a little strip on the inside. It's like a little chemical paper thing. He said it could cost you a lot if you're wrong. Rashida understands. Dollar Tree is a hit. It slaps. It's a bop.
I want to tell a story, but I better not.
Maya said Dollar Tree does the Lord's work. It's there for you when you need it.
You sure you don't want to tell that story, Michael?
I want to hear. Oh,
100%.
wait a second. That sounds like that's a deep story.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Well,
so
I also do nail art, but I am a frugal person, so I like to post about, where I found my nail polish on discount, and I think from there I started getting obsessed with like other people's deals that they found. So it started out with actual artwork on a nail canvas.
People don't believe me when I tell them this. I'm not even sure if you know this, but you maybe can relate to it better. Like prior to the pandemic, when my wife wanted to have a special day, we would get in the car and go on the road and go to as many Dollar Trees as we could.
You're such a nice
and
husband.
we would know where all like the ones were that got like the really special shipments that not all the stores get. Like we found out that the best ones were in the suburbs of black cities, because if you went inside the city, all the black stuff was picked over.
Okay.
And then you went like in the real white communities and they didn't have like makeup and shades that my wife could wear and stuff like that. Okay. But if you go to like there's
so
ones
black stuff means stuff for black people.
Yes. Sorry, I thought that was
no, not
you're using your wife shorthand, and you need to expand your audience.
Yeah.
That was very Family Guy of you. Wasn't there a Family Guy episode where like they were sitting and there was this brother hanging out and they were like, I gotta go do some black guy stuff.
Right. Okay. So that's good intel if I'm ever back on the road again, to look in the suburbs of the black communities.
Alexandria, not DC. West Allis, not Milwaukee.
Got you.
I can't remember what Chicago suburb. I have them all saved in my GPS, which ones she likes the best. But that's literally, and we didn't do it this year for her birthday because of the pandemic. But
that's such a cool treat.
Yeah, and then we come home. She'd spend $300 at Dollar Tree, if you can imagine. And
people are like, how is that even possible? That's how they get you.
You get 300 things. Well, I guess with tax, you get like 287 or something.
That's probably as much it gets as an adult. That's probably as good as it gets.
It is. That's how you feel like a boss. You have to live like a queen.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it though, because like I've always been a thrifter, I get as much of my, my clothes and furniture and anything that I can from like Goodwills and St. Vincent's and stuff like that. Obviously a lot of it you can't, but like I'm always, so I like when she explained that to me, I was like, oh, well, this makes sense. It didn't seem like a foreign thing.
Oh yeah, the same chemicals are going off in your brains of just like, ooh, I got a deal. It's very exciting. The hunt. Michael, what rows your boat? What gets you excited? How do you treat yourself?
Excuse me. Oh wow. I'm trying to think right now. It's like I'm sure I have the equivalent somewhere in my life. Probably when I do like the there's a place here in Minneapolis or in Minnesota called Cafe Zupas, and they have like a soup special where you can get like 2 small soups, different, so I always
a taste test. I love
I'm a bit of a taste tester. Yes,
that's so fun.
I like that. I like the sushi platter. I like the, I like to be able to.
I don't know if you drink alcohol, but a flight of beers, like where it's just mini beer cups, are so cute to me. I love those.
Really, Tiffany?
Tiffany said, I can't stay. I'm literally outside of Dollar Tree. We did it too. That's the problem. I didn't mean to set off anybody's Dollar Tree addiction. Tiffany.
I don't appreciate that, Tiffany. You got to hang out with us.
Tiffany, you have to report back and tell us what you found.
That's true.
That'd be awesome if she came on the show.
Yep.
I'll send you the link if you want to pop on camera and show what you got. Tiffany was
know what you got, Tiffany, please.
Okay, Tiffany from Facebook is going to.
Tiffany's a family at the show. She was our, I think, 3rd guest. So she's a very well-respected activist in Los Angeles and a photographer and does many wonderful things. Very cool. Most important today is Dollar Tree shopper.
Yeah, if she's a photographer, then she's an artist, and Dollar Tree has a bunch of crafty, fun stuff. Yeah, I love that you're a taste tester. This sounds really nerdy, but one of the most exciting things I ever did for Oscar night, because I had nobody throwing an Oscar party, was I just went to the grocery store and got probably 7 different kinds of yogurt. and made myself a frozen pizza, which is my favorite treat. And I ate the pizza dinner, and then I was supposed to just have the yogurts as dessert, but it turns out you can only really eat 2 cups of yogurt before it starts to get weird. So I just, like, after
like
the 7th
Jamie
one,
Lee
I
Curtis
was like, I can't.
or
The fact that I just realized I had
You're
an
right,
epiphany
Dan.
that the word weird has so many different interpretations. And I'm like, well, weird how? Like,
Weird as in, it's not ice cream. Like, why are you indulging in yogurt?
why do you
first
need
of
so
all?
much acidophilus in your life? Yes, I get it.
Exactly. But they had like kinds with muesli, and they just had stuff I never heard of. There was like the full fat. There was Greek version. I was just going to town.
Yeah,
Chocolate kinds, fruit
that's
kinds.
all right. Yes, I completely understand that.
Chris asked if I put hot sauce on my pizza. Never have I ever, and I've never even thought to do that. Hot sauce
Only
goes
frozen
on
pizza.
Scrambled eggs. Only frozen pizza?
Only frozen pizza.
I've
Like
never had it.
that's my trick from like high school or whatever, is like when, you know, or no, it wasn't so much high school, is when I was like a struggling musician and all I could afford was frozen pizza. Like it tastes like cardboard, but
so to
you put the
enhance
hot
the
sauce
flavor.
on it.
Well,
Yeah.
I do eat it with Flamin' Hot Cheetos. So yeah, if I'm really having a good time, then I like to mix it with like some spicy
Hot sauce
chips.
with flaming hot Cheetos?
No, frozen pizza with Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I was like, that
No, wait
seems
a minute.
like
What kind of frozen pizza, Dan Spiffy Neuman?
so if you're gonna do hot sauce, that's when you have the very cheapest frozen pizza. Like here
Yeah.
we have a grocery store.
Celeste.
Well, we have a grocery store called Woodman's, and you can get like Orbs for like, I think it's like 6 for $11, or maybe Tombstone. Or I can't, just the really cheap
Tombstone,
ones where
Tombstone's like the oldest, cheapest.
yeah, where like there's really no difference between the crust and the cardboard the crust sits on. And
This
so
is true. So if you accidentally leave it on, it's okay. You might set off a smoke alarm, but you won't change the flavor.
Flame retardant pizza, delicious. Yes.
So I actually, Chris, I did my glasses vlog the other day. I got multiple pairs of glasses sitting right here.
Oh snap, Chris!
So these two with the
You're
circles.
getting a costume change
Yeah.
during this program.
So, and these are the ones I was on a different podcast this morning and wore
I
these.
can tell from Chris's Facebook photo that he knows fashion and style. Ooh, those are really cool too.
So,
You're not gonna know which episode this was because you wore
no.
all
Let me put
three different
the first
glasses.
ones back on before I confuse myself.
I'm mad because
So.
I found some sunglasses last summer that were just like that, and I put them back. Why do I keep doing this? I'm trying to mimic your glasses. So they were dark up top, and there was nothing underneath. They were just like that, but sunglasses. And I really wanted them, and then it was too late. They were gone the next time I went back at a thrift store.
So I can't. All my glasses turn into sunglasses because I can't wear sunglasses because then I can't see at the same time.
So they transition.
Yeah.
Cool.
I will link you to my glasses group. I've been trying to get Michael in there, but Michael's resistant to.
He says I have so many hours in the day, sir.
No, not only that, but I mean, I'm kind of a snob. Like I go in for the imported types of like these.
Ooh,
Somebody hooked me up. Actually, it was Patar. Patar
Yeah, you told me.
hooked these glasses up for me while he was in Serbia.
Wow.
Since it's a comedy night, we'll put this groaner of a joke on there. Wait, where is it?
Uh-oh.
There we go.
You're making
Oh,
us
Rim
sweat.
shot. Michael, you got a rim shot handy?
Thank you.
Reek, pow!
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was just kind of surprised because like Nia and I are both people that like we are probably me more so than her, but like definitely her as well. Like stand-up comedy is our thing. So I was kind of surprised that she had collected a comedian through nothing to do with comedy. Because, you know, I have some comedians that I've known through music stuff, and but you know, like she just y'all found each other through something that had nothing to do with comedy. I'm like, oh, and then here's somebody that's, you know, and you're actually like somebody that's out in the world that we can see. Like
I've been working on this for a long time. Well, that's the funny thing is my nail Instagram was a hobby. It was just that I was posting too much about nails on my personal comedy brand Instagram. So I just thought it's not funny. It's just artsy. And so I moved it over to a different Instagram. And then all of my nail Instagram friends have no idea what I do for a living. Like, you know, they don't know I'm a comedian. And so now I'm starting to integrate more of my comedy updates and flyers and show appearances or TV show. Like I'll have my nails on set to let them know I'm working on a show or something. And it's just the crossover is very funny. People in the comedy world are like, "So, are you also a nail technician?" I'm like, "No, I just like to paint my nails in my house and talk about it with strangers."
I guess that's, and you know what? I was gonna respond, but it had something else to do with my wife, and she's already said to stop talking about her. So
she'll kill you.
Yeah, she means that. So we'll leave that line of questioning alone.
She will kill you, and now it's like the perfect crime too, because nobody would believe it. They're like, "Oh, she was just kidding," and then he ends up dead.
Anybody that knows my wife will believe it.
Although in a murder mystery show, she would be the prime suspect because she had made a declaration.
Have you ever done an episode of Law and Order?
I would love to. No, I haven't yet. I would be on SVU. I would be on any of them though. I've watched every serial show you can. I feel like I could do it.
Law and Order is forbidden in my house.
Why?
Bum, bum.
Because my ex-wife and
you told me this.
And my wife's baby daddy.
Yes.
Obsessed over that show. They watched it constantly.
So you're both over it.
I hear, shut up. Where's the remote?
In the criminal justice system. I don't care. Click.
Nope.
You find it particularly heinous, or especially heinous, I guess I would say.
It just reminds me of somebody it reminds me of bad times. It makes me homicidal.
Yeah, Rashida said Nia's taking you out Carole Baskin style.
Yeah.
You don't have a very large pet, do you, Dan? Because that's not going to end well.
No. So
no exotic animals in the house.
Maya will. She put money on Nia's books.
Yeah. Especially after some of the comments I made on Facebook lately, I think. I was kind of always under the impression that like Law and Order was how like the up and coming actors in New York paid their bills.
I think it's a great opportunity. Although they seem to reuse artists a bit. So I feel like once you're in, but it's not like everybody gets to do it. But I don't know.
I've just been shocked at how many people that I've seen that like had like
that go on to have great careers. Yeah, even Jane the Virgin. Is her name Gina Rodriguez? Yeah, I even found her on an old episode. And I was like, wow.
So, like, if you know, and if you're comfortable answering, and you may not know, and you may know, and you may not be comfortable answering. Mm-hmm. Like, if you were to be like one of those random people in an episode of Law and Order, how much does something like that pay?
Oh, well, I think it's a Screen Actors Guild, union show, so you would be paid a union rate, and for those, I think you have to Google. But I think there's a payment for the appearance itself. And then there are residuals that you get, like a fraction of a payment every time it airs. So I still get residuals from an appearance on Broad City from back in, I want to say 2014, 2015. So that's nice.
I didn't realize that even like the bit parts and the crowd people and stuff like that got residuals.
Extras? I don't think background gets residuals, but maybe. I don't know.
Anybody with a speaking role? Would be
yeah.
If you said something, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right, and then there's an under 5 role where you're just like a day player and you have under 5 lines. There's that kind of role. Still, you can make money off of that.
So I was always kind of under the impression that it was, I mean, musicians, comedians, and actors are all it's terrible careers. It's such a hard thing to make a living at. But I was under the impression that in a lot of ways, when you're nobody, it's easier to make money as a musician. But that seems like one way that it's better as an actor, or, that because with musicians, you're doing session work, unless you got points or you got, producer credit, writer credit, you're not getting any residuals. You're just getting paid for the session. And then,
right.
So it sounds like there's actually, like, that's one way that it's better.
On union projects, yes. I mean, that's, I think, one of the reasons the union kind of tried to build in those protections so that you could earn better. And a non-union commercial or television show or whatever project, you're not necessarily guaranteed that. And I think you have to negotiate a pretty good, like, comparable contract ahead of time if you want to receive kind of an equal financial standing. Mm-hmm. But it's still not as protected. You're not protected on set. There's not a union rep coming by to make sure you're not overworked or you're not underfed or dehydrated. It's better if you're in the union to stay in the union and keep doing union stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So do the actors unions, I guess they do still swing a pretty big bat, huh?
Yeah. Oh, you mean, what do you mean? Like,
Like,
are there more
Michael
union
might.
projects than none?
Well, I was going to say, I mean, Michael, you interrupt me if you know way more about this than I do, but it seems like the musicians' unions don't really do much anymore.
Well, no, they don't. I tried to do something with them as far back as probably 94 or 95, and they just kind of. I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to indemnify anybody, but it just I found them to be ultimately useless.
I bet it is hard to get a union off the ground and get everybody on board, and it takes years, I bet you, to get them to gain traction and to start to pull their weight around.
Well, the problem here, anyway, is that or in the musicians union, is that, I mean, are there actors running the Screen Actors Guild?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, running it, well, not always. There are some people, you know, I just found out recently, there are people involved in the actual union who are not actors. They're just like I think the man that heads up the whole union is, or he's a, I don't know, he gets like 7 figures. I was reading about him somewhere. He was not an actor. He was just like a Harvard grad and is a businessman. You know, like people who get trained as CEOs and then headhunters go and find them other CEO positions. That's, I think, I'm talking out of my head, but I think that is his role. But the president of SAG, who, and that's an unpaid position, is Gabrielle Carteris at this time, who was Andrea on 90210 Beverly Hills.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of actors are involved.
All right. I mean, the place I was going was just that it's musicians working in the union. You know, sometimes they'll covet your position in the business. They'll feel some kind of way when you come at them to do something, and they might, you know, be in their feelings about, you know, just status, you know, all that ancillary BS that comes along with people competing in a profession. So I gotta say, we unfortunately had to go to the local musicians union about Paisley Park one time, and the guy who was in charge was like, "Oh, what? I mean, what do you want? You had a great gig. You know, that's not the point, man. That, you know, it's like he kind of shined us on, and I was like, okay."
Yeah, you want someone who wants to protect a legacy, not just
and plus it wasn't like he had any vested interest. He was just this old dude who had his conventions about what's fair and what's not. And I'm like, this ain't even about your opinion. This is about what are the laws here.
That's why, yeah. That's why I feel like it's hard with politics. It's hard to trust a politician or have a politician represent everything that you, the people, stand for, because they don't usually have your background. They don't usually have your racial makeup or gender makeup, you know.
Yeah, they're in it for themselves. And that's the problem.
And then you just have to hope they care about your cause enough.
Many years have gone by, and I have probably the first drum tech that I've ever worked with who actually plays the drums. Everybody else didn't.
Interesting.
Because they sit down. The experiences I've had with drummers who were drum techs is that they end up setting things up for their ergonomic needs, and they're not the one who has to do the job. So, my very first drum tech, Scotty Baldwin, I had the good sense to hire a dude who knew nothing about setting up drums, but he had an incredible memory, and and learned what else he needed to know along the way. So, really, that was trouble-free.
Now, you gotta appreciate the people that make it easy for you.
Absolutely.
I was gonna actually throw your sister's question up there, but then you already answered it in the comments. You don't have to get so far ahead of us. We can still, we can still throw these up here. I mean, I didn't want to jump around, but it's your sister. I'm not going to ignore her.
Go ahead.
So it's up there. Can you see it on the screen?
I can.
Oh, yeah. Do
you like the craft food service on show sets, or is it trash? This is just in case there are any visually impaired listeners who are just tuning in. I will read it out loud. It's trash is subjective. What I answered her was that it's my favorite place to hang out because I am always hungry. So there are meals, you break for breakfast, you break for lunch. Sometimes if you're working very late, you'll have a dinner come in. But the craft table is always available. So if you're done reading your lines or saying your lines, you can run over to a table and have a snack. That might be different now with COVID because on a recent set shoot I did, there were people there at the table monitoring who came in, and they would hand you the snack. They'd be like, which one do you want? And then they'd hand it to you with gloves on, and then they had to watch you eat it so that you wouldn't take it away in another area. But pre-pandemic, you could have something like junk food, bags of chips, or you could have nuts and fruits and artisanal things that you probably wouldn't even treat yourself to from Trader Joe's. So I love the craft table.
Wow, Chris Lundholm, you're funny, man. He's what he said about Machiavelli. I wouldn't put that up there though. You know who else was like Machiavelli? Salieri in the Amadeus Mozart movie. Same thing. Like, the whole time, like, I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you. And he's trying to kill him with his own music. Yeah.
Do we want to jump around a little bit and look at some of these questions? Because Diane had a question earlier, and then Nia's trying to get some shit started in the comments. So we can,
now you've spoken about her again, and now you really gonna get it.
Let's figure out a ploy that we end this show that I can still get some later. Let's try to figure out a way to end the show.
Remember, her father is watching this show.
That's true too. So I'm gonna throw Diane's comment up there to change the subject.
Diane says, I think I'm funny and I crack myself up. LOL. Oh my gosh, she's laughing right now. When did you discover that you could really make others laugh and be comfortable doing it? Comfort comes with doing it over and over again. I don't think you know you can be comfortable at something. But I was, I think that if I could answer a question you didn't ask, it's when I decided I could try to make a living at it. It was after college, and I decided I didn't want to do anything that I had earned a degree for, which was generally international relations. I had a degree in foreign service from Georgetown. And if I don't mention that I go to Georgetown at least twice a day, then I haven't earned my degree. So I have to.
I didn't know either of those
things. It costs too much money.
So we're going to have you back to talk about some international shit. I don't know what international shit, but we'll figure it out.
As a Hoya, I'd be happy to do that, Dan. So anyway, yeah, like choosing to make it a living, I was not, I would say, funny. I had to learn how to be funny in the professional way to like consistently make audiences laugh. But off camera and off stage, I was hilarious to all my friends and family. Right, sis?
What city are you in?
Right now I live in Brooklyn, and I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. So I made the move over to New York in 2005. Been here 15 years.
So, I mean, I'm assuming that was because that's considered to be one of pretty much the two places that you make a living in comedy.
Yes, they would say go somewhere. At the local open mic in Indianapolis, I would interview all the professional comedians that would run through working those weeks, and they said go to a city you can get stage time. And the ones they listed at the time, Dan, are New York, LA, Chicago, Minneapolis, and Boston. And out of those, I picked New York.
Yeah, Minneapolis is actually a working comics town, or was. Mm-hmm. I forget that we had the Comedy Gallery. We had a couple of places. Louis Anderson started there. I saw Chris Rock for the first time in a comedy club here.
Yeah, any place you could get club stage time or bar stage time. Like where there was an audience. Usually in cities with big clubs or clubs that are doing well, there are other bar shows that are started by local comedians that people will also attend. So you just want to go to a community that understands that live comedy is an art form to enjoy.
Yes.
Chris, it sounds like my neighbor. There's someone that said Brooklyn.
Chris is another former guest of the show. He's a city councilman in, I believe, East Orange, New Jersey, but he's from Brooklyn.
Nice.
And if you ever, we do these things where on select first Tuesdays, we invite all our past guests that can drop in. If you and Chris ever drop in at the same time, he's got a great Brooklyn accent. I'm sure you're
great.
I'm sure you're used to it, but I don't get tired of it.
I love that.
Yeah, Brooklyn has got one of those just like
it makes you feel cooler. Listen to him. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Makes you feel like, oh yeah. So yeah, bong.
Energy.
It's funny because I would not have thought that Minneapolis and Chicago would be on the same level with New York and LA when it comes to like starting a career in comedy.
Oh my goodness, yes, Chicago has Second City
Oh
and
yeah.
Improv Olympic. It did at the time. And I feel like, and then LA had the Groundlings. So for improv and to make as a stepping stone to Saturday Night Live, you would definitely want to be in Chicago. It was just too cold. I couldn't live there. It was too cold. The pizza, the deep dish pizza almost brought me there. If I didn't love cheap frozen pizza so much, I would have gone luxurious and just had my deep dish in
You
Chicago.
start talking about pizza.
I would say not to
Here we go.
not
Michael,
to bring us back to
a lot.
food, but how much do you get crucified in Brooklyn for saying good things about Chicago pizza?
It's all brick oven. Brick oven pizza is the only pizza people recognize. We'll all eat like a $1 slice of Brothers Pizza in Manhattan if we're hungry, but it's about brick oven here in Brooklyn, and pretty much in all of New York City. So if you talk about deep dish, they'll be like, okay, but they don't know. They don't know about the laminated dough. They don't know anything about how good it is and why. They're just like, I heard it's not brick oven. That's all they'll say.
I don't know if I'm eating a brick oven pizza.
You have.
I bet you have. It's like it gets all bubbly. You put it into a big old oven that's a fiery pit made of stone or brick, with a big pizza paddle. That doesn't ring a bell. And the dough is usually very thin and soft and chewy, but crusty at the same time. It sounded a lot
like Jakey's, like my birthday party when I was 8. It's not. As an adult, I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually put a pizza in an oven.
Does that sound old-fashioned to you?
Yeah, it sounds like I have to have a handlebar mustache and.
Yes, that's perfect. Exactly. They need to bring back the handlebar mustache.
Go figure.
You will have like Defara Pizza in Deep in Brooklyn, like I think it's in Bay Ridge or Bensonhurst. Has the same old man making pizza. He may have passed. Rest in peace if I'm wrong. But you can watch him make it, and he makes. Yeah, you want to see a person that's been making pizza for decades since Michael was 8. That's who you want making your pizza.
I tell you, I've been to Italy, and I never watched anybody make my pizza.
No, they don't, do they? They don't show you how they make the pizza in Italy.
The dining room is separate.
I've studied in Italy, and they just have them out there on display. And they're small, too. They're not, unless it's served to you at the table.
Pizza's different when you get there. Yes, definitely. It's not, I mean, I think an Italian would consider Chicago pizza to be a total sacrilege.
Yeah.
It is a different thing. So Rashida just called it a casserole, and she's right. It's a
whole pie on crust.
That's the same thing Jon Stewart has said multiple times. I don't know if that's where that inspired her, or if they just came to the same conclusion as New Yorkers.
That's very funny.
But
casserole on crust.
Yeah. Or a bread bowl with tomato soup in it.
Yeah.
But
that is Midwest.
Oh, yum. And the crusty outside, I have to have it. It's been years.
Well, you come visit us sometime when the pandemic's over, and we'll make sure you're fed. And we'll go up
hang.
Then we'll go up and see Michael and bring him some brick oven pizza.
Yay.
Just make sure there's no meat on it. No meat, no cheese. No.
Oh, yeah, because Michael's doing plant-based now.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even doing plant-based. I'm just doing not animal fat.
That's good too. Oh, please. There's a whole list of vegan options that aren't animal.
The plant-based thing, I'm actually somewhat a friend of mine is keeping me aware of the fact that that's still processed food, and you get too much of that in your system, then you're going to have other problems.
This is true, but just different problems.
Different problems, problems that animal fat won't give you.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not a vegan. I did try to do a vegan diet. You know, I wanted to lower my risk of heart disease, but then it increased my risk of suicide, and it just was not the way to go.
Trade-off. Your desire to live versus your desire.
But if I'm gonna do vegan, I like it to have the closest thing to meat possible. Like tonight, I had a cheeseburger that was a Beyond Burger, and that thing is like the same color as meat, the same texture. I'm not convinced I'm not eating meat.
I've had it, and I think the burger experience is the best one, because really, if your mind can sort of escape the idea, I think the burger experience is the best. But it's just like Five Guys. They have a veggie sandwich. I just get that. Like no cheese, get extra mushrooms, like bulk up on the texture,
I didn't think about that. Five Guys. Yeah. So well, sometimes some places the flavors are so familiar in a place.
Right. So Rashida asked after a while that there wasn't any meat, especially if you have fries.
True. Yep. Yeah. Oh my gosh, the fries, the bucket of fries. I had a joke about Five Guys. Let me look it up on Twitter while we talk. But Rashida asked if I've done Caroline's. I have played Caroline's several times. I never recorded an album at Caroline's, or they had offered a 45-minute set for people to do, and I never did that, and I always wanted to. But what I remember about Caroline's audiences, I'm talking about it like it's closed. It is not closed, but a lot of clubs are not open at this time. Was that the audiences often came from Long Island, and they often had a particular look, like they were all dressed up, they had fresh haircuts, they did not look like vegetarians at all. They were solid people, and I don't know, something about that was like, I gotta learn how to crack these Long Islanders. I mean, I made them laugh, but I just always, Caroline's was the goal to like play a certain crowd of people who wanted to have a great night. They came out all the way from Long Island. You had to make them laugh. You know what I mean?
What I'm envisioning by your description is like mobsters. Is that what you're implying, or is that not? Am I picking up the wrong intuition?
As a member of the Illuminati, I am protected, so I will say yes.
Oh boy.
That's a good line.
So, Michael sounds like he knows things about the Illuminati that I don't.
I'm in the music business. I've
heard plenty of rumors.
It's time to start sharing. Hello.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Is it not something I should claim to be a part of, or is it something I should be careful about mentioning?
Where your headspace is at. I mean, I am a person who is my imagination runs wild, so conspiracy theories aren't so crazy to me.
Got you.
So it's I have had the chance to compare a few different people's stories about how things work, enough to know it's some mess we don't want to discuss here.
Well, my introduction to that world, and I know very little, was staying in an Airbnb in Los Angeles. I was shooting a game show that never aired, or that I never saw. And but at the time it was very exciting to be shooting a game show. And the family I was staying with invited me down to watch YouTube with them. They said, we're watching a show, and I thought it was like a movie. And it was an Alex Jones special.
Oh, Lord.
Narrated special, which I had never met Alex Jones. I mean, never seen him before. And the snack that we were all passing around was pomegranate. They had opened probably 8 to 10 pomegranates and just dumped them in a bowl, which is very healthy. But they were just like eating them by the handful, like it was popcorn. And I thought, these guys are unique. It was a husband and wife team. And they mentioned the Illuminati, and they said something very straight-faced in the program, like, and of course they meet and do these weird rituals, and they were just going into detail. And I started to laugh because I thought it was a parody or a spoof. And then the husband, while eating pomegranate, just goes, shh. And just kept eating pomegranate. And I just excused myself because I was like, okay, this is your world, and I am not a part of it. Yeah. And I don't want to disrespect, so I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, I get it.
Michael's just like, shh.
Yeah.
Don't talk about things you don't know about.
I'm not even really so much that. It's just, it's a lot of people can't go there in their own minds. People believe it's a wonderful world and puppies and kittens, and I bring so much doom and gloom and reality to people that I have a bandwidth when I'm going to do it.
You have a bandwidth that I admire, because I have a very low tolerance for uncomfortable, sad things. I can hear it, and then I need to like purge with comedy.
Yeah, I'm not trying to change your life, Abby. I'm saying the truth is stranger than fiction, almost straight across the board.
Well, if I come across some pretty harrowing stuff, I will come to you first, because you will be the one. You will be the sounding board that believes me.
Yes, I'm ready to believe. Believe. Yes, okay.
I found my Five Guys joke. Okay, Five Guys fills a bag full of fries and then puts the cup of whatever size you ordered on top of it, like a hat. That's what they do with fries. Every time I order small, it's like the whole bag is full of fries.
It's true. I've one small order of fries from Five Guys is like they're just bringing in trucks of fries. Like they've got fries to give away.
Right.
I left Nia's Scientology joke up there. I don't think that's the one she got flagged for, though. Nia, what comment did you get flagged for?
What did she get flagged for? She said, "At what level of comedy do you consider Scientology?" I remember walking through LA and seeing the Scientology building and people recruiting people, but nobody came up to me. I was just wandering. I had time. I probably went to TJ Maxx or something on my downtime, because in LA, if you don't have a car, which at the time I did not, I was waiting for the bus. I had time. Nobody approached me. I could see them approaching other people for Scientology. I'm like, don't I look like I could fit in?
Oh,
she said murder somehow, and that got her discounted. She said.
Yeah.
okay.
That was when she was, I guess, threatening me, which, I mean, that happens on a daily basis. I don't know how.
Well, look, I got flagged for saying to you and somebody else, "You Negroes are crazy." I can't
I've shown you the stuff I've got put in Facebook jail for. It's been men are trash, white men are trash.
Yeah, it's a misplaced allyship.
Well, that was because you put white and trash in the same sentence.
Oh, snap.
And I was just talking to my wife about that. I said you can call a white person a redneck, but when you call them white trash, you're stepping over a line. That's a different level. You're too familiar.
Let me see, because there was some other good. Oh, Jesse's. I'm just trying to let these questions get away because they're easy to disappear, and especially because we want to take things away from anything that gets Nia flagged on Facebook or. Who's typing so fast? Is that you, Abby?
I was typing into both YouTube and Facebook to keep up with the Joneses.
You are a very fast typer. So
that's a skill I've had ever since grade school. We took a typing class in grade school, and I got the best score.
But if you want to reply to the people, you can just do it on the air, though. Like
I will. I just didn't want to interrupt. I mean, the timing.
We're used to it. We're used to getting interrupted here.
Jesse wants to know.
My 7th grade teacher was the typing teacher was too hot. I couldn't concentrate. You come over to no, you do it like this, and
I didn't have any hot teachers. I didn't have that blessing.
Oh man,
same.
All of them kind of looked like. Have you seen that meme that's going around that just like everybody had a gym teacher that looked like this, and it's like Adam Sandler in a trucker hat with a mullet and stuff like that?
Okay, I haven't seen that.
Or something like that.
You didn't have that gym teacher?
I did. I'm saying all my teachers looked like that.
That's who you had.
Yeah,
I had a bunch of mothers and uncles. Like none of the men seemed fatherly. They were just like irritating uncle types, but the women were all very nurturing and lovely.
Our gym teacher in high school was a player. You could see how he was talking with a girl. All right, girl. He was like Obama. He had that smooth Obama on him, kind of. He like light skinned and kind of in shape and fit. Had the cool jog. All right, girls.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
let me answer.
It just made me mad.
You're supposed to take notes.
Handsome.
Jesse Spriggs said, "I want to know which episode of Broad City you were on." I don't remember. I don't remember the season or the number. I have an idea, but I think if you just look up Solstice Games Day, it was when Abby was trying to participate. She wanted to get promoted at the gym, and so I'm one of the gym. What do you call it when you work at a gym? Gym staff. And my name was Brendar, but you never heard my name said on. I love that they gave the character a funny name, even though my lines were not in there. You see me clapping, you see me doing sit-ups, I believe, and I'm cheering her on. Season 3, episode 3. Jesse found it. Thank you.
Oh wow, we got some good detectives here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is the internet. You can find out.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Like, she's not like Sherlock Holmes.
I'm not everyone is their own private investigator these days. And Nia said improv makes me break out in hives. That should. It's not natural. How important is that skill for a stand-up comic and how to stretch that competency? I think the best application of improv with stand-up is in going with the flow and agreement. That's what improv teaches you to do. Yes, and is the practice. And also crowd work. Like you can interact with people and hear something and not get tripped up by it because this makes me think of that. Like your brain's already in the habit of making connections, which a lot of stand-ups get good at anyway without doing improv. And improv helps you work with others, which you never have to learn in stand-up. So the two disciplines, I was learning them both at the same time, and they were pretty conflicting with each other. The only thing they shared was that there was nerves involved in both. Like, oh, I'm going on live. I feel jittery. But in improv, right before a show, you can pat each other on the back and say, I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. And it makes you kind of feel like we're in this together. If we fail, we all fail, and we all get to laugh at it afterwards. If stand up, you don't get to do that.
That's the same as music, really.
That's nice. Yeah, that's right. You guys are all in that together.
Yeah, and I don't like to lose, so I'm really, I'm a mess. I if things are not going well, I get real verbal about it.
Can I hear you from the back? I always wonder. Probably musicians can hear each other on stage where the audience can't hear you guys talking to each other. Is that right?
Oh, I'm the loudest person of all time, so a lot of what I say can be heard.
I've been in the audience and heard Michael yelling at other musicians.
Oh no, Michael! He's gonna be
in
everybody's biography.
He's got a reputation. I will give him. That's actually one of the things when I first met Michael, people were talking about him, and I was like, I gotta go find this guy.
I gotta see this dude.
Yeah, I gotta see this dude. They said it's they described him, they described his stature, they described his playing style, and they said he'll hear a wrong note from 6 blocks away, and then he'll tell you if
One moment.
That's the food delivery.
Get the door, babe.
So I think they're having food delivered.
Oh,
so we can tie that into the. What'd you say, Michael?
I said that sounds fantastic. Food delivery. What'd you get?
Yeah.
What are you guys having?
These are groceries.
Ooh.
I'm so glad we're not in the stage of the pandemic where you have to wipe them down again. That took forever. Taking things out of the cardboard boxes.
Oh,
do you remember that stage where you just take a Lysol wipe and try to let everything sit for 4 minutes?
Well, what we were doing for anything that wasn't perishable is we were letting it sit for 24 hours, I think is how long the coronavirus is supposed to last outside.
My neighbor was doing that too. She was just letting things marinate for days on end to get the virus off.
And I don't know why we're not as concerned about that now as we were at the start. I know they said that they discovered it doesn't spread as much from contact as it does from airborne, but it still can spread from contact. So,
yeah, the lifespan of the actual virus on surfaces is different.
That I don't know. I'd have to Google that, and I got too many windows open right now. That might be the case.
I remember in the early days, I was just keeping the CDC page live and refreshing it to get updates, and then the updates started to slow down, and then the misinformation came in, like the dueling entertainment news sites.
Yeah,
I don't really call them news sites because they're just mostly entertainment, but just like they would always tell you, this is what you need to be doing. Don't listen to doctors. Don't listen to scientists.
Yeah.
Don't listen to them.
Nowadays that the CDC has been politicized, there's a little, there's been an issue with that as well. So I mean, about that. Because
the government is essentially going to war with Dr. Fauci, the only person anybody believes when they speak up about it.
Now that speaking of Brooklyn,
they just look at him for facial cues, like if Fauci's nodding while Trump talks, or if he's just going, Don't do that. Speaking of Brooklyn, what, Dan?
Because Fauci's a Brooklyn archetype.
Oh, cool.
He's got the Brooklyn accent, and he's, he did an interview with, I think, Jesus and Mero, where he talked about his favorite pizza places in Brooklyn. So that ties everything together.
Oh, cool.
I did want to ask you while you were talking about, because I had a kind of a tangential question from when you were talking about performing, is so the thing about bombing as a comedian, am I understanding it correctly that you can be up there and not make a single mistake and do everything right, and bombing is just the audience there doesn't like it? It's like you can, as a musician, you can play a perfect show without a single mistake, but it's considered bombing if the audience doesn't love it. Is that
absolutely yes? That's the measure. That's the stick you measure it by. The lack of laughter, which then kind of can affect your momentum, because it's a conversation you're having with the audience. You say your piece, they respond with their approval or their relatability or their groans, and then you say more. So if they're just not enjoying it, I think we saw this with Bill Burr on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you guys saw that recently, but there were moments where he just started filling in some non-laughs with I don't know.
Was that during his monologue or during the?
Yeah, the monologue. And some of the monologue got applause breaks. I wouldn't say he bombed that monologue, but I would say that's a good template because the varying reactions on how he responded. You could see momentum and flow when he's getting the laughs, and then skirt when he doesn't.
You can't tell when you're going to get the belly laugh and have to wait.
Right.
If you don't get it, then it's like, cricket. Okay, well.
Yes, and you can burn through a whole act in half the time. That sucks. That's hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, bombing. But that's the thing. Just because you bombed with that audience doesn't necessarily mean you take it home and go, "I'm a failure. I have to quit this business." You just think, "Well, they weren't for me. We were not a good fit."
Yeah, I saw Jerry Seinfeld say, no matter what happens, he sticks to his routine. Like in his experience, he will come out victorious if he sticks to the plan. And
there's another Seinfeld quote I like that was very reassuring, which is that most people don't like a singular comedian. Like, that's just the numbers game, you know? Like, there's more people who don't like a comedian than who do. So you have to remember that you're not going to meet your crowd every single time, but you're going to try your best.
Sure.
That whole thing was just like, because the idea for me as a musician, like, my goal is to play the music the way I want to play it. And it's rare that there's not a single mistake by me or by somebody else. But let's say you have a night, or I guess in my case, sometimes a Sunday morning, where there are no objectionable mistakes. You know,
right.
That's as good as it gets, in my opinion, where you go through and there. I mean, there's nothing's going to be flawless, but the mistakes are small enough that you can live with them and you're sure that nobody else noticed. And the idea that you can do everything that you wanted to do and it still be considered bombing is just like, at that point, I wouldn't even care what the audience thinks. I'm like, well, we did it exactly as we rehearsed. That was the goal. If they didn't like it, fuck them, you know?
That's a different headspace though, man. It depends on what you get into that career for. Some people do it because they got so much on their mind that they need an outlet. Other people are lean more towards what they're bringing to the audience, what they're, like Sam Kinison, to me, I think he would have been yelling in his apartment the same way he yelled on stage. I don't think it mattered for him.
True. And I can't speak for all comedians. I think, what was I going to say about it? It's if I got to the point where I have a special, people are paying money to see me specifically, then that's my crowd. And then if I'm not making them laugh, I would feel a little bad, because it's like, okay, these are people who already know my voice and they like my material. And so my new stuff isn't jiving with them. Okay, I'm disappointed. But if it was, there are some times where I played in Maryland. I played this restaurant that had like 2 KKK chapters in that city, and the owner came up to me and he's like, okay, don't do any ignorant race jokes, okay? And I'm like, oh, like racial stereotypes, like people can't drive well. And he's like, oh, no, those are funny. Just don't do any ignorant jokes about white people. And I was like, that's all my act. So, I mean, it's channeled through my husband, but still. And so it was very uncomfortable, and I was like, dang, they're probably not going to be comfortable with my set. And I was super scared, but it ended up being fine. They were not. It was not, the New Yorker cartoon readers there. It was just people that were just wanting to have a good time. Half of them were at a bachelorette party.
Yeah. See, Dan Spiffy Neuman, he's a young hot shot. He still got something to prove when he puts his hand on the organ, on the guitar.
That's not true.
This is me playing Dan's organ.
More abhorrent than anything is a self-indulgent musician.
Oh.
If you're doing it for self, stay home.
Oh, okay.
I don't care for that. Like, what are you doing?
It's a public service, and you need to serve the people. Is that right, Michael?
Service. You're right. You're exactly right. It's entertainment. It's not about you.
I'm not doing it for me. I'm just so happy when things go as rehearsed that, like, I'm at that point, I'm not concerned about, like, when things don't go as rehearsed, then my thing is, did people still like it? Okay, then it was fine. But when things go as rehearsed, I'm usually just so relieved, because what do you? Go ahead, Michael.
You value your own opinion more than you do others.
I like Rashida's quote on Facebook. She goes, "F them on a Sunday morning, Dan."
Well, so the thing about Sunday morning is like,
she done got you, man. Don't even know back pedal.
He said, "To see the microphone at the organ."
Yes,
crowd.
That's why I don't have a talkback mic. So, no, I mean, for real though, so there's the type of show where this can be a gospel show or an R&B show or whatever, where everything is rehearsed and you do it exactly like the set list, and that's what it's going to be. And that's kind of what I was thinking of. But then there's also, like, Sunday morning, you have the stuff that's rehearsed, but there's also supposed to be a lot of, like, spontaneous, like, you kind of, people will call it being led by the spirit, but it's also a lot of kind of sensing the vibe of the room and what the people that are there are looking for.
Uh-huh.
And so that kind of thing, you sometimes have to throw the set list out the window,
Yeah.
And versus like
that oil.
Versus like a touring show where where we're doing what's on the program no matter what. Mm-hmm. So Michael, when you do I know Prince would call an audible constantly, but do the Soul Asylum shows generally stick to the format, or do you whatever you and Dave feel like calling at any given moment?
It can be anything, man. I mean, really, because there's somebody who was following us from show to show. It seemed like the same person every night was yelling for a song called String of Pearls. Every night, some dude or some woman, String of Pearls. And sometimes they would, okay, yeah, all right. Other times I just get on the mic and say, not tonight. Go home and listen to your record.
Aw, she went home so sad.
Well, she was there every...
Yeah, she needed to calm down.
I'd say more often than not, my attitude is you'll eat what I serve you. I'll just, 100%, being 100 about it.
It hasn't come up yet on the comments, but my sister is trying to get us all to say who we're voting for. Which
I saw that. I've been.
You're waiting for the right time to share it. Well, I will say it's not necessarily people's business who you'll vote for, but I don't mind when people say who they think everybody else should vote for, because it's not the same thing, but it's kind of the same thing.
Well,
I mean, if they could take I get the feeling you could take a pretty good guess.
Yeah, I think
she just likes to hear it. I know my sister. She just likes to hear it.
I don't think we have any Trump supporters that watch this show. We welcome them if they want to watch. Come on and learn something. But we don't. They've long been stop watching the show and just complaining on a regular basis to Facebook to get us shut down. Yeah, we get reported on Facebook. I mean, if you go back and look at our past episodes, how many of them have like people related to Black Lives Matter and stuff like that? Like, I don't think the Trump people are even checking for us anymore, other than just to.
After the first show, didn't Mia just say to you, "Oh, so your show's not for white people then?"
Yeah, she did say that. It's well, I don't know if that was after. That wasn't after the first episode. That might have been after Tiffany's episode. Which, by the way, Tiffany, where's your Dollar Tree haul?
Oh, Tiffany's back. What'd you get?
I don't know if she's back, but I gotta. I'll text her. Let's see.
I should just write String of Pearls right now.
I mean, like, Abbi, are you saying you really? Are you saying you equivocate over whether or not, or you don't believe? You might as well just get it out there. You don't believe that performers or people who are influencers should say those things?
That's not what I said. No, I think that personally, I'm a very private person. And also my mom raised me like, don't talk politics. And I don't think that applies here, but I think that I have it in the back of my mind. And what she meant was, try not to quibble over things if it's just going to be a big old confrontation, and just kind of, just keep the peace if you're, if you don't need to get into it, if you don't have a real relationship with the people you're talking to. That's how I extrapolated that to mean. But I don't know. I don't understand anyone who votes for Trump, who did in 2016, who would again in 2020. And if I did understand them, I would be making a lot of judgments, like guesses about them. And I do have family members that live in Indiana, so I have to assume there are some who are on board with him. And without excusing any of those choices, I would say that could be, since I just watched The Social Dilemma, that it could be because they're receiving propaganda only, and they only insist on, watching things that position Black Lives Matter as a rioter's game against cops, so, which is not a pass. I don't excuse that. Mm-hmm. I wish they would educate themselves, but gosh, this is a long diatribe. So anyway, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm voting against Trump. I would not waste my vote. I vote every time I can in an election, and my history has been consistently on the Democrat ticket, although I don't think the Democratic Party speaks to all of my needs and desires and hopes. But yeah, there's just no way, not even as a joke, would I ever vote for Trump.
Yeah, well, okay. I need to backtrack just for a hot minute and
sure.
Just elaborate just a tad bit, because Diane says, I'll take it as you guys serve it, Michael Bland. I didn't mean to sound so tyrannical, but I've been in this business long enough, and I pay attention to everything, so I know what's going to work. I trust my methods, like I know enough about it. You know what I mean?
I don't, so I'll take your word for that. That's not where I'm coming from when it comes to voting. I feel not very powerful.
At 19, I was in Prince's band. I've been watching top tier professional people do what they know.
Oh, I see what you're saying about speaking out and utilizing your platform.
That also, but also as far as the content of the performance and why I ignore the String of Pearls guy.
Oh, we're talking about String of Pearls.
More often than not. Anyway.
Sorry. This is about who we're voting for. You were very patient with my response.
It's okay. That all worked out just fine.
That's all right. Anyway, I don't think anybody needs to share their politics. I believe it's helpful in this day and age for sure. I get why they would feel motivated to, but I don't know if anybody's convincing anybody who's not convinced yet.
Yeah, pretty much you've made up your mind by now. If you live in this country, you already know what you're going to do. So that was my point earlier on my Facebook page. Like if you're still undecided, then first off, well, I don't know. Let me just
go ahead, Michael.
I don't see a world where a punk rock band from Minneapolis in some studio with 6 cameras and no audience is going to sway anybody.
So context for Abbi and anybody else who didn't see the Soul Asylum show on Saturday is that Dave Pirner got a very small amount of backlash for taking about 30 seconds.
What's backlash?
Backlash, yeah. That's for supporting Obama. He got
for talking about what?
He got he spent about 30 seconds saying, "Make sure you vote and make sure you vote Biden." And and if you are in any way familiar with the band or their message, if you go to their webpage, there's ways to donate to charities related to Black Lives Matter and George Floyd. Like, I don't understand how anybody who's fans of this band doesn't know where they stand politically and would be surprised that they're encouraging people to support Democrats, left-wing causes, social issues, etc. But apparently it got some people riled up.
Yeah, I mean, listen, as long as I've been in Soul Asylum, I've played more benefits with that for the North Side. I've played cancer benefits. I've played so many benefits with Soul Asylum. Dave Pirner is a person who is, like I said before, service is important to him. The entire canon of his creative output is about how you treat people. Really, it's like if you've not been paying attention, it's not even a political issue to him. He sees what he sees, which is, people getting treated in a way they don't deserve to be treated. That's all he needs to know. He's not worried about the tax break or the economy. It's down to when are people going to start treating people right? That's it. He wrote a song named that exactly. So if you don't understand who you're watching, then, I started to send somebody back their money. I started to get on PayPal and send them, here's $17.25. We don't need your money that bad. If you were so offended after we rehearsed for 2 months and put together the set list of a lifetime for our fans, and that's what you got beef with, here's your $17.25. I don't need it that bad.
Everybody's just at a different place. You got to meet them where they are. That person was not there to enjoy good music and understand who you were.
Amen.
So we have said that we don't necessarily have to discuss the topic that we set, but I think this is a perfect segue, and I'm just looking in my email for exactly what Michael sent me for the topic, because the way that he phrased it was really good.
It's been a hot minute. I mean, I can get into it with Abbi because I kind of remember what I was saying.
Okay. Go ahead, Michael.
Just, this is kind of you're right. It's a good dovetail into a conversation about freedom of speech. It's funny that Bill Burr just got on and got people winded up just a minute ago But I mean, as a comedian, do you think there's such a thing as going too far?
Of course, because I'm also an audience member. Like, I have a threshold for how far someone can go before I get offended. But I think people extrapolate that to mean there are some things you should not talk about. You cannot talk about. And no, in America, with freedom of speech and in stand-up, the art form that is designed to supposedly make people laugh, I think jokes that even punch down, even though it's against like protocol to punch down, can make some people laugh. You know, at some point, blackface was funny to white people because white people were the audience. As the audience grew and changed, as it has in 2020, and we look back on that, and people are like, that was comedy? People were laughing at that? It's
so
like, yeah.
It's just like music also, because you play to the people who show up. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to be successful, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not so much, the comedian is not the one to blame. If you find it funny.
Right. And then my husband and I differ on this. Well, go ahead, finish your thought, and then I'll jump in.
I mean, you got it. Go ahead and run with it.
Well, my husband thinks that he often takes the comedian side, and I often take the audience member side. And I think that if you have offended somebody in the audience and, you know, they want to tell you that, how it made them feel, I think since this is a service for them and they are included, then I can speak to that and say, well, that wasn't my intention. I'm sorry that what I said offended you. You know, not sorry if you feel bad about it, but just I'm sorry that what I said made you feel that way. But does it mean I change my humor? I mean, sometimes I tailor my jokes or I rethink something. There have been things in my mind where someone responded in a way I didn't think they would, and I thought, oh, wow, that was not what I was going for. But then there's other times, and I will share this joke, where Stan Lee made an appearance in Black Panther. And I said Black Panther would have been an all-black film, except Stan Lee always has to be in his own movies. Or I said something like Stan Lee hasn't died yet, so... And the implication was because he always likes to make a cameo in movies about characters he created. And people on Facebook were like, okay, so you just wish Stan Lee would die? This was before he actually died. And they're like, you should die. And they were making death threats to me because I clowned on Stan Lee and they're diehard comic fans. And I'm like, okay, you missed the point. The point is that he's always in his movies. The point is not that I wish he wasn't. And the point is that Black Panther's great and is black. And so, anyway.
And there's the thing. If you're smarter than your audience, you're going to miss the mark.
Yeah. And so whatever. I didn't lose sleep over it, and I didn't take the tweet down because I thought, well, I still said what I said. That's when you add that Nene Leakes gif where she goes, I said what I said.
Yeah, I love using that one.
I love that one. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
I'm just mad you said gif instead of gif, and continue, but that just bothers me.
Gif is the original pronunciation.
It makes no sense.
It's also a delicious peanut butter.
Right, with a J.
Giant begins with a G. Dan, a soft G. Real G's move in silence like lasagna. I believe Lil Wayne said that. There's lots of G's pronunciations.
Yes.
So,
what works?
What do you think about Mark's comment about Michael Richard?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, because you talk about, so I guess you said it was your husband that takes the side of the comic. Mm-hmm. I mean,
he often says, the people pay a ticket to see the comic, share their thoughts. It's not like people are holding comedians to a different standard of like, well, you're a voice of the people or you have a moral obligation. It's like, no, they just have a job to make you laugh. If they fail, they fail. They got to regroup and try again. But there is you're not. That's what Luke would say. My husband, Luke Thayer, he's a comedian. He would say, nah, that's just how it works. You don't have to make a comedian more than what they are. I think Michael Richards, I think Dave Chappelle had a great response to Michael Richards because he had a relationship with him and could speak to that experience of being booed. But, and I forget what it was, but I just remember it was funny. We had to look that up.
What I think he said was that I wasn't offended as a black man. I was offended as a comic. Like, you should have tried harder.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, and knowing that's not, he appeared to have gotten backed in a corner and tried to pull something out of his butt that like, this might work. And it sounded like, this is how I interpreted it. I don't know if anybody else did, but Chris Rock's bit about black people versus N-words, it sounded like he was trying to say, just like Chris Rock says these are the example of black people that Chris Rock talks about, and I'm like, that's not it.
Really, it was the Michael Scott version.
Exactly. So anyway,
he was bombing, and he didn't. Yeah, he made it worse.
He made it worse, and then and his whole, like, it seems like his whole life was impacted by it. I don't know where he's up to, what he's up to today, but
he's somewhat crying with his millions he made off of Seinfeld. I don't feel bad for him.
Oh, I didn't say I feel bad for him, but I do think he's somebody who let it affect his career. He didn't perform in clubs after that. I don't believe. I don't think he felt safe doing that.
And Chappelle, that's funny that you say that, because they were friends, and he still referred to him as Kramer. And when he said Kramer effed up. I was like, whoa.
So that's another great question. As the spokesperson for all comedians,
yes,
like when is it acceptable after something like that, or say Louis C.K. or whoever else that's had a big public relations nightmare of their own doing? When is it acceptable to start going back doing clubs again?
Well, I think the court of public opinion has been pretty clear on what they want, and I think it doesn't hurt to listen to what they want. A genuine sounding apology, lifting up the people who you victimized and probably stole careers from by accident or as a consequence of your actions. So I think contrition is important. Repentance is important in this scenario, like turning your back on that behavior and living a life that is completely different from the life you led leading up to that behavior. And, like there are people who have, I won't name names yet. Hang on. Let me just finish this thought. I think a lot of people do it wrong, and it's pride that makes them want to come back a little too early before they've actually, properly atoned and made up for their wrong. And shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, I think if you do offend the audience, the quicker you can acknowledge that you've done something wrong, the better. The longer you wait, the worse off it seems to be, in the harder the hearts of the people who feel like they've been wronged become.
I would agree with that. I think that sounds accurate to me. Yeah, I was going to say something else, but sorry.
It takes a lot of character to do that, though. And it honestly, you also have to go through the stages of shock and pride, I can't believe these people think that of me, and, your denial of your whole thing. And if you haven't even faced what you do wrong, and we're talking, this varies from crime, offensive jokes to actual crimes. And, you don't want to admit publicly that you've done the crime because you don't want to actually have to pay for it in our legal system, so there's a lot to why somebody can't just on a dime just give the perfect answer for the public,
Well, not only that, I was just thinking to myself, like a performer, that you have a booking agent saying, you've got to get back out there. You can't just...
I know. And you have a family that's we're still hungry.
You're messing up my life now. Suck it up.
Yeah, I don't know anybody's financial situation. That's how I am about money. It's people oh, you're a millionaire, you're sitting pretty, and it's I guess, but I don't really know what people do with their money and how they spend it and how they live off of it. So
yeah, but I'm just saying, if you're successful at all, you probably got an agent.
Oh yeah, to that point, absolutely. There are other people making money off of you that will push you back in.
That's what I'm talking about. Is those people probably
not to mention, and you're surrounded by not only people who make money off of you. If your agent hasn't dropped you for what you've done, they're probably in your corner and not buying into the things that the people against you are saying. So you've got an entourage of people who are saying yes to you and know you didn't do anything wrong and coddling you, and
but also you don't work, they don't eat. Yes. So I'm saying
they have something to gain from
that motivation. Yes. So some people may be talked into it sooner than they're ready. Also, is all I'm saying, really.
Yes. Good point.
I was understanding exactly what Michael was saying too, because I don't know if I've seen it or if I'm just find it relatable enough that I can. It's the same thing as pushing people to go back out before they're ready after an injury or after an illness or a death in the family, or and I guess you probably see the same thing in sports too when I'm thinking about injury, just because again, there's a whole, if you're successful, there's a whole line of people that are making their living off of you, and they may not be disingenuous about it, but they see you sometimes as a commodity and not as,
Well, they have to a certain degree. I mean, it's business. There's no room for sentiment in big business.
Well, actually, and yeah, if I could answer your question all over again, Dan, the answer is you don't go back. You don't go back to work. Your 15 minutes of fame are up. You have to go focus on yourself, self-care, rehab, do whatever it takes. Apologize to all the people you've hurt, including your family who you've shamed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the real work that needs to be done is probably going to take a while. Yes, there is room for redemption, I think, but I'm just saying, like, no time soon.
Absolutely. You're back, and you're back to Chappelle with Comedy Central. He decided to ghost. There goes their, the biggest star on their network.
Yes.
So, of course they're gonna smear and use conjecture and business is ugly no matter where you're at.
Well, I would say this: all of entertainment is made up of human beings, and they are all, complicated. So I feel like whenever we talk about an industry or a group of people like network heads as being this one hive mind that thinks a certain way, I mean, truly, even though there's a certain personality type and a certain like background, education that ends up in a certain job position, I think it's important to remember that some people will surprise you and most will disappoint you. And I don't think it has to do exactly with, them being some group, but more like, there's a bunch of people who probably took it personally that Chappelle took money off their table and he said no to a really big paycheck for that. And they were like, what? I don't understand that. Well, they're not him.
So the moral of the story is humans have the capacity to do some good. And I guess that's where we're just going to have to leave it.
I know. Sometimes people surprise you.
Yeah, they can. They can. It can happen. But the likelihood.
I know. That's why this election is so tenuous for me. I'm like, are people gonna calm down? They had Trump for 4 years, people who elected him last time. Can they just relax and just take an L, have a Snickers for another 4, regroup? Do they have to fight so hard to get him back in office again? He didn't help them. Okay, now I'm getting upset.
That's
I feel bad because I like to invite people. Anytime I invite people on Facebook, I know I'm reaching like any family that happens to be politically conservative or just like lifestyle conservative, and still, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like I lose them. I feel like they're like, "Oh, is this what this is about?"
Well, maybe they, when you shared the video, maybe they saw Black Lives Matter in the hashtag and just moved on.
And we're like, "No, thank you." Black Lives Matter. Too militant.
Yeah, listen, being the elder on this particular panel.
Yes, sir.
I don't have it for me. For me, I don't have it anymore.
Yes, I hear you.
I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and you can listen or not.
Yep.
Yes. I've come too far. I've seen too much.
I'm very close to becoming that person too. I'm just.
That's just where I'm at. I don't have the patience any longer to, wrap the rhetoric in niceties and try to make you feel comfortable about, that thing is just kind of gone from my system. I don't, no more pretension, no more hand holding, no more spoon feeding. Because it's you have to choose what side of history you're going to be on.
Yeah.
And don't act like you don't realize that.
I think what I'm dealing with is still like the what's it called? Humility. I think I have way too much humility that is just like, oh, but I'm not perfect. Oh, but I don't want to be measured by this. Oh, but I don't want to label people. Oh, but I don't think that like this represents everything and one decision made today can affect me tomorrow. Like I know somewhere you just get concretized in your values and you're just like, I don't have time for anybody who doesn't see the truth. But right now I'm kind of like, judge not,
that's cool.
Lest you be judged, blah, blah, blah.
I support, it's your prerogative to do so. I mean, I can only guess.
I can't wait till I grow out of it.
Okay, well, that's cool too. I mean, I just know that I've never been one for, playing footsie. So.
And you don't suffer fools.
I'm not uncompassionate.
Yes, I know that. I can tell.
I'm like, come on now. It's right there in front of your face. If you can't shame the devil when you see him, I got to stay away from you because you don't know who you are. We don't need to spend time. we don't need to discuss any of it.
Chris
That's the way you want to roll.
Chris takes away all of my euphemisms.
Yeah.
Or what's it called when you sugarcoat something? He's speaking clearly.
You're being euphemistic. Yeah, if you sugarcoat, yes.
Dan has remained quiet. Dan, your silence speaks volumes.
My favorite episodes of this show are the ones where I sit here in silence. So that's
why?
Because that usually means somebody's gotten Michael riled up, and that's makes for good content.
Man,
I just think it means you can listen and learn. That's when I'm quiet, and I'm rarely quiet. I'm very reactionary. I talk way too much more than I think. So I need to learn to sit and listen.
I have the opposite problem. There's so much going on in my head that
Do you get it out on paper though? I feel like I need to do morning pages.
I've started to, but not morning pages. It's just sometimes I'll write little notes to myself in my phone.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, yes. Mm-hmm.
I'll just, and I've gotten a couple of good songs out of it, actually.
Nice.
So I guess my catharsis had been, I took a bit of a sabbatical from a lot of things for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I'm just now kind of getting back into a headspace of composition, being creative. I just kind of focused on the Soul Asylum thing for the 2 months we were rehearsing, and that was cathartic also.
Absolutely.
But as far as all the different voices in my head talking about this and that and the other thing, and music is it's nonstop for me. Even when I sleep, I wake up, there's a song on my mind. Mm-hmm. I hear just music all night. I don't as a comedian, do you find yourself playing word games and working on your bits just when you're interacting with other people?
Well, that's how I write on stage. For the stage is just in general conversation, taking a note if something clever has happened. But I want to ask you, because I have this problem with music in my sleep. I have songs that loop when I'm having trouble sleeping. Does that happen to you?
Yes.
I hate that. How do you break it?
I can't. It goes. Eventually, I'll just
Torture.
It is. People don't know what it's like. It can drive you crazy.
One time I've tried waking up and just singing the song all the way through, just to finish it. It doesn't necessarily work.
Yeah.
Or switching gears.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect to go down this road. I don't think I want to.
Well, I've never heard anybody say that's a relatable experience. Well, because the only person I talked to is my husband, and he hasn't had that happen. So I'm just glad that you've at least heard it before. Okay, well,
I'll go through it then for our benefit. I mean, yes, it's my whole life. It's been a constant obsession, and especially if I've worked in the recording studio all day, all night, I'm going to be hearing everything back. And I'm going to be thinking about things I could have done differently. And I'm sure I'm on the spectrum somewhere. I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't bring you peace. It's like you have no peace until... Now, what breaks it? That's what I want to know. Like, how do you get to that place where you accept...
Well, a good friend of mine who completely understands my problem told me I need to learn how to listen again. He said, listen to the birds, listen to the grass, listen to the wind going through the just, you need to, sit with God and listen to nature.
I've heard similar advice, like if we're linking this to stress or anxiety, the advice for that is to tap into your five senses. Say, like, name three things you can smell right now, 3 things you can hear right now, 3 things you can feel right now.
Oh, yeah.
So that's similar to that.
I'm quite at that particular level, but
somebody cook a bacon.
Quieting my mind is not easy. I'm old enough at this point. I can admit it. It's hard for me to just let it woosa.
Yes.
So I really have to focus on that. And what I find is a lot of things that are troubling me, the answers come then. It's in the way I'm listening. It's in clearing my mind so I can listen.
I don't know. Right. Maybe it's a superpower we don't know about. You don't know how to channel it into.
All of my superpowers are things that aggravate others. I have perfect pitch. I'm a stickler for time.
Okay.
I really understand harmony. Like an indisciplined musician around me is having the worst day of their life.
They're going to hear it from you. Now I have something to say. I don't know if this applies to you. If I heard it, if a person considers themselves a perfectionist, that's really just a code word for they're very fearful. They're fear of a judgment. And they fear that they're not good enough as is. And that's why they kind of hide it behind all these precise things. Does that resonate with you?
To a certain degree, but what I do, I have to put up or shut up. It's not theoretical. And I'm playing in front of 2 people or 200,000 people. I have to produce the result that I'm after. It's beyond, it's not theoretical. Whatever my fears are, I have to face them. So my fear that I won't play perfectly starts before I pick up the sticks. I'm very, I don't like to fail.
It's not pleasant.
No.
Now that I have a daughter in the house, she's about 3. I don't get to like have my outbursts like I would if I was frustrated with myself, and so it's very much like fudge, oh, sugar, and she's like, "Why are you upset?" She can still tell. Like I'm saying happy words, but she's like, "What's wrong?" And I go, "Oh, I'm just, feeling very upset right now.
Making
I
a grocery
just need to breathe through it." Yeah, No, I tell her the truth. I've learned that you don't have to hide your feelings from your kid, but it does help to like, I want to break it down for her, but it really helps me to process it. I'm like, okay, I vented. But it is funny that it doesn't get to just be like what have I thrown at the wall? A cup of Coke. Have you ever thrown a cup of Coke at the wall? Like a fast food cardboard cup with the plastic lid and the straw, just bam, feels good.
Did it have liquid in it at the time?
Yes, filled to the brim. That's the old me.
And that's the thing, is that any emotions like that, I channel and get them out on my instrument. I hit things with a stick for a living. So I don't have a lot of pent-up hostility as a person. Like a lot of it comes out. I'm glad for what I do, because a man of my stature and my strength, if I lay hands on somebody, I'm going to change him.
I see that. That's a good point. You at a different place in time, in history. Although maybe you wouldn't, if you weren't musical. How could you not be musical? No matter what era you were, you'd probably be musical. But if that was not a viable career and you were just nitpicking how someone was tapping a spoon against their glass.
Yes. Yeah, God knew what he was doing with me. I got into alignment with my purpose early on. And I never looked back. I knew that music was what I was going to do. And what's funny is that in high school, God bless him, the what do they call him? The band director. Like he often would run interference for me because he knew. He recognized that, well, yeah. Of course, you're sleeping through British literature class because you were out playing at some club till 1 o'clock and didn't get home till 2:30 in the morning or 3 or whatever. He was very sympathetic because he could see that I was dedicated, and that I had the what do they call it, aptitude, potential. So it's funny. I think at some point, all my teachers just kind of let me be. They're like, "Oh, he's already working. He's already doing a man's job. He's 16 years old. Well, okay, just leave him alone. If he falls asleep in class."
Let me ask you this question, Abby,
That's
since
nice.
we've kind of
can see that in you. Yes,
circled to music here. The quote about all musicians think they're funny and all comedians wish they were musicians. Is that true in your case? Do you have any,
It would be so nice to... Yeah, I think because as an audience, the way I feel when I see musicians excel, first of all, you guys are good at math, or you're just like math brained somehow. And I was never... No? Really? As a drummer?
But all you're doing is subdividing in your head. How is that not math constantly?
Exactly.
Well, I'll say this. If it is math, it's abstract mathematics because...
It's that fractals. It's like...
I'm dealing in.
It's math in nature. It's auditory math. So anyway, my point is
measurement.
My point is what I see in musicians is not what I see in myself, especially rappers. I love like their way with words, the swagger, the whole vibe. Not the whole vibe, not the misogyny, not the worship of money.
How much of that vibe?
But like to get ready for a comedy show, I would just love to listen to some rap on the subway.
See, I feel like that's got to be a very similar gift in terms of being able to freestyle versus being able to do stand-up.
Freestyle is so cool. It is a lot of, I think word association helps for both things, but I don't understand anybody who sees a comedian and says, I want that, except, so it's not about the appearance or the swagger in my mind or the outfit, you know, it's more about the power of making a whole room laugh at the same time. That's a really amazing thing to see. And that might be why I got into that as an art form, besides it like playing to a lot of my gifts, which are like skills, which is like creativity, creative writing, wordplay, talking. Clearly I have no problem like, you know, just talking to people. Gift. Nia. Okay. 30 minutes late, unless Dan just put it up. Nia wants everybody to know.
I think when you just said gifts, she was making
gift. Nice. Ooh, she's quicker than me.
Yeah.
Gift. I think you mean gift.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nia. She speaks 7 languages, maybe even 8. So
out. Yeah, right.
So right. I know why. Jokes. So I know why I like musicians. I'm not sure I know why they like comedians unless it's for what I just
see. It's so funny the way that you said that though, because when you described like I am the person that wishes I had the gift that you have, but for me it has nothing to do with making the room laugh. Mm-hmm. Like it's not about. I just wish that I could do it.
Like talk about your life without feeling weird?
No, that I can do. Like I wish that I had I could get up on stage and talk about my life for 20 minutes or whatever the set is, but I don't think it would be funny. And, you know, kind of getting back to the whole thing before about pleasing the audience versus pleasing yourself, I do feel like I would have to find it funny first before I would expect anybody else to. You know,
again, that's a general character flaw of yours.
Michael's so mean to me today.
Michael's just pointing out flaws.
I'm trying to give you a word. You're too self-conscious.
I'm lifting my hands to receive the word. The camera's too small, but I'm trying to receive it.
That's all right. I don't mean to pick on you, man. I just think that you're very impressed. You have a reverence for your own perspective on a level that.
Because I mean, I feel like that's the perfect example of it. Like, if I don't find it funny, then why would I expect anybody else to? I have to satisfy my own standards first before I feel like anybody else. I would feel like I would subject anybody else to it.
But if you choose to take that form or that perspective, then everything you're doing is self-centered. Like your job as a comedian is, well, let me not.
Right.
No, please.
In my opinion, the job of a comedian is to focus on the universalities that exist in the world. Mm-hmm. If you want to be successful, if you just want to have if you want to be, what's his name? Bo Burnham, all right. No problem. But if you want to be Seinfeld, you want to be Cosby, well, not Cosby now.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard for me to get into conversations about what makes comedy the right kind of comedy because it's a subjective art form. But I will say, you want to tap into what's true for you and what makes you laugh as a starting point, and then you want to test it out on an audience so you can see if it's relatable or not. So you don't ever want to you don't want to pander to a crowd and just say things that are universally evergreen and that are always going to make people laugh. Because that takes it starts to kill your soul when you're performing. You want to make sure. It's always funny.
Right. Oh, and if you go for it.
No. You're right.
Yeah, right.
It's just that the whole reason that's funny is because it was such a banal, vague.
Right. I have this, yes, that's my comedic gift is to point out that
Women be shopping.
Yeah.
Nutty Professor.
Women be shopping, don't they? Black people live.
I guess it sounds like we're going to see Michael's comedy set and then Chris's comedy set. I want to know what open mic night we're going to see both of these, because I want to see both of them.
I bet
Rashida don't. Rashida's like, you can't stop a woman from shopping.
Right. More
Rashida,
or less.
he is quoting a comedian that was playing a hack comedian in a movie by one of the world's leading comedians. Oh my gosh, so many layers on that one.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I guess what was I gonna say? It's probably nothing important. But
you're gonna criticize me some more, is what you were gonna do.
Probably. I'm looking for it. You, something about you.
Yeah. That guy.
No, I guess that's
the white man's problem.
See, I guess I can appreciate somebody like Norm Macdonald.
Mm-hmm.
Like, his comedic style speaks to me, really. Like, just how he I guess that level of irreverence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, it's like there's no point of going into a field unless you plan on being successful. But you do have these people, these outliers who they are what they are. Mike Epps. Mike Epps is never going to try to cross over. He knows his audience, and he's not really interested in being on the opposite side of that. I've seen him say as much, at least. That I'm a ghetto comic. That, this is what they come to me for. I'm comfortable with this. I'm not trying to move up. I'm not trying to get on, So
yeah, every artist is entitled to their own choices and why their comfort zone and what they want to do and how they want to do it, which audience they want to speak to, all that. I respect all of that. Rashida's shouting out Cat Williams, Norm, Mike. I mean, they're all great. I think they're all great for different reasons. And I think that if you want to study why people have been successful, I mean, first of all, in entertainment, there are no guarantees. So there's no formula. But the people that have, if you look back on what they've done, I think they've tapped into what makes them unique, and they've tried to find, their voice and joke about what they like to joke about.
The motivation.
Not everybody's going to be everybody's cup of tea. That's just the nature of stand-up. So
I get that, and I didn't get into music to get rich, so I can identify with Dan in that sense, where it's like it's not necessarily because of the self-indulgent aspect is what gets you interested. I think it's just it's you have to think that of yourself before you engage.
Well, right now with my kid, I think I kind of assumed that it all traces back to getting praise for something, and receiving that praise and feeling validated by it when you engaged in a certain art form. But right now, yeah. But now that I'm raising my kid and I see her and I praise different things that she's doing, I don't know which. I think she loves that validation, but I don't know which one will stick. I don't know that just because she is putting letters together and trying to spell words fast, and I'm impressed by that, and so I express that to her. I don't know that that's going to make her great at reading or writing yet. It's just too early, and I don't know what. So there's definitely like what the nurture part, like how we are shown what we're doing is good, and how we try to like recapture that part of our identity. But then there's also that natural nature way of like, I'm going to do what makes me tick. And when you see a horse for the first time, you're like, what is that animal? And I got to learn how to ride that, or whatever it is for you.
I got that. I get that. It's external validation is just a human need. Period.
Especially if it comes from your caretakers, because you need them to survive. So it's kind of goes hand in hand with
exactly
needing them to be okay with you so that you can eat and sleep and breathe.
Yes, but also in the arts, if you're inflexible, you will almost indefinitely fail. And that's what I guess concerns me about Dan saying, as long as things go the way I see them, as long as everything goes according to plan, I can feel good about it.
Well, how is that different from what you said earlier, which is that you came to go big or go home, something like that? You said something about all or nothing. It was very black and white. Do you remember that line?
I mean, it can be all encapsulated in the fact that I said I don't like to fail.
Maybe that. Maybe, yeah, like it just sounds to me like a similar premise of like I want to do my best in my mind. Like I set the bar for myself, and if I meet that bar, then I'm glad about it, and if I don't, then I'm upset about it.
But me, First off, I'm never happy.
That's true. That is accurate.
Also, I mean, I just been simply playing music longer than you. I've been on the planet longer than you. Mm-hmm. So my experience is also what's involved when I'm putting the set together. There are numerous experiences that I'm drawing from that inform my choices. So I guess that, experience is just is the differential I guess we're really talking about.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think for me, it's just there's so many ways for things to go wrong. And I'm just, there's a certain piece that I get when they don't that is not affected by outside influences, such as how much the crowd liked it. You know, again, I'd much rather the crowd loves it. Mm-hmm. Now, what I'm now trying to think about in this context is, and maybe I'd love to get Abbi's take on it too, and just from the music side of it, mm-hmm. and then hers from the comedic side. Mm-hmm. Would I rather play a show where I felt like I didn't make any mistakes, I felt like the band didn't make any mistakes, but the crowd was lukewarm, or one where we screwed up all through it, mm-hmm. but the crowd loved it? But I felt like I couldn't listen back to my own playing without cringing.
Well, let me say as much that there's never a show I play where I don't take a chance. Mm-hmm. My spirit, my soul, some aspect of me wants to push the boundary a little further than beyond what's expected, and sometimes that can lead to colossal flops and failures. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to live with that. But I mean, some of the mistakes I made early on when I was working for Prince, like in front of 20,000, 50,000 people, mm-hmm. that will keep you up all night in your hotel room.
Well, I heard he was a stickler too, anyhow.
Absolutely. But he was not, it was not so much a matter of technical prowess. Mm-hmm. It was more about the responsibility. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like the responsibility to entertain. Like even he would not, I mean, he'd change the set in the middle of, in the middle of the set, he'd start calling out other songs if he wasn't getting the right response from the audience. Mm. Now our responsibility was to know any song he might want to call out. I'm prepared.
You don't have to be ready if you stay ready.
You don't have to
get ready if you stay ready.
Stay ready.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. I guess.
Well,
go ahead, Abbi. I'm sorry.
Can I do a comedian perspective on Dan's little this or that? I think that there have been sets where I felt like I made mistakes I didn't want to make in my head and was very embarrassed, probably cried on the way home, and then I would play it for Luke or I would try to listen to it again, and he would go, "Oh, that sounds great." And it sounds like they're laughing. And he said, "Do people like boo you at the show?" I say, "No, they compliment me afterwards." You know, like, so it's weird how if you have a standard in your own mind and you don't see the reality, I think that's sad. And I think you're missing out on being in the moment and enjoying it and also letting other people have their feelings.
But yes, I totally agree. And I remember Levi telling me, he used to ask Prince, like, why do we have to, pay such close attention the whole time the show? He might change. You see him, he put his hand up, bat, put two fingers up. You better not miss it. and Levi said he had to get over the anxiety of not being able to just turn that aspect off and just enjoy himself. Mm. But we were there for Prince to enjoy himself.
Right.
That was fun for him, telling the band what to do when they got to just do it. It wasn't for us to have fun. We're there to facilitate his entertainment, mm-hmm. and he is the channel with which the audience gets to. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like that. It's like, I don't mind being extemporaneous, but if that's what we're going to do, then.
Well, can I ask a faith-based question? Is anybody ever concerned with being pleasing to God with their work? And taking the people out of it?
So, go ahead, Michael. You go first.
No, I'm. Let me chew on it for a second.
Sure.
You got something to say?
So, I guess I'm going to convict myself with this, because my feeling is as long as I give God my best, then I'm not particularly worried about disappointing him, which is the reason I say I'm convicted by that, is because how dare I feel like my standards should be higher than God's, you know? But that's never been the thing in the back of my mind. And it's because I kind of made a conscious decision at the beginning of my music career, which is certainly not limited to gospel. But that I would make sure that there was always an aspect of ministry in everything that I do. And so I just consider, as long as I'm walking in my purpose, then God's not disappointed in me.
Sure. Well, the flip side to that is, can you show yourself the grace that God shows you?
That's why I said you convicted me. Because that's what I struggle with, is like, and it's a great example, because most of the times when I've been really disappointed with how things went, and it doesn't necessarily have to be church or gospel music or anything, but in any musical setting, when I've been disappointed with how, man, I can't listen back to that without cringing, is usually when the audience, the crowd, the congregation, whoever loved it, and it's and with the whole thing that the analogy that I gave before, in terms of like, I lost my train of thought. Hold on one second. Let's see if it comes back. Nope, it's gone. I'll interrupt when it comes back.
Okay, yeah, feel free.
Give us a lot of gems. Thank you.
Because I got a couple angles to speak on from this, because first off, at some point in my career, I was already focused on giving my best always when I met Prince. So that's just a condition that intensified as I, got older and had more experience. I even now in rehearsal, I rehearse like I'm on stage. I don't hold back. There's no middle zone. If there is, it's just for a moment to clear up what's going on if there's confusion. But when I start counting that song off, it's full dedication. Everything is working in tandem. I don't guess about that about myself or my dedication to what it is I do. Now, but the other way I thought you were asking was secular musicians versus church musicians, and whether or not God is pleased when we leave the church and go out into the world. And you know what I mean? I thought that's where you were coming from.
No.
Rather than personal standards.
But I think that's a good question too. That's a fine question to address if you want to talk about that.
Well,
that wasn't what I was
There's a lot I could say, but I don't have to. But you talk
someone might need to hear it though.
You're talking about a good church boy who found himself in the den of iniquity. I was working for Prince. My youngest older sister, Carla, prayed for me continuously. I'm sure that I only survived that experience in my right mind and with my spirit and soul intact because she put up a hedge around me. She prayed a hedge around me. And so I had a lot of spiritual conflict working with Prince, because Prince likes to play. He likes to play around in the dark. He likes to play around in the light. He likes to switch places. He likes to, you know what I mean? Like he had a curiosity in ways in which I had boundaries. So, I had
there's a little devil on your shoulder and his Prince in a red outfit.
Yeah, and yeah,
do it.
You can characterize it whatever way you choose. That's
okay. I was just painting a picture for the kids who grew up with Disney cartoons.
But at the end, when it was all said and done, however I felt about it, I had no one to blame but myself, because I kept walking forward into a situation that I knew I may sustain collateral damage from. So I guess that's That's how I heard it, but that's because we put everything through the vacuum of our own experience.
Well, I think, if I could bring that back to what I'm doing, I think anytime in entertainment in general, I don't know. I think you can have your faith in any business, really, and it can be challenged in any business. If you were going to cheat as a musician, you could cheat as a banker. It's kind of like,
absolutely,
a human is the same person everywhere they go. But what I try to do, and I never talk about this because on most podcasts, they're either not faith-based or they are secular, and it's like, and I'm usually speaking to an audience, I feel, since I don't know anybody's relationship with God or what they refer to, as the universe, but is God, whatever. I think, but what I understand to be as God. Then I think that I don't tap into this. But at home, because my husband, is the same, we do have talks about, like, is this compromising your character? Is this compromising? When do you speak out about this? When do you not? Especially in this day of social media and everybody having an opinion. It's almost like, am I being wrong for being quiet right now? But also, so when it comes to that, what you're talking about of like, how can I call myself a Christian and still do this? Although the term Christian has been just dragged through the mud by certain evangelicals this year.
Yeah, do they not
previous
know
years
Jesus was not white? He was not a...
They don't know.
I don't think they figured that out yet. That hippie.
Anyway, we're not talking about white supremacy right now. Let me back up.
When are we not talking about white supremacy?
Why aren't we not? Exactly, Abby. Calm down.
Beat me to the punch.
But if we're not, why not? But I guess what I'm trying to say is, I try, without broadcasting my faith, infusing all of my professional decisions with my faith. And it's not always easy, and I do make mistakes. I do not have any lawsuits against me, but I think that that you guys are probably no different. And in other words, that's why I feel like I can ask you that question about, holding yourself to a standard. Sure. Knowing that you're already loved no matter what you do anyway. Kind of like not letting that standard come from a place of something that isn't, like there is nothing to prove.
Right. Salvation is free. That's not something you earn. And God already knows what you're going to do.
Well, can I just talk about it from a church perspective from a little bit? And I don't know that this is that much different than when you're touring with gospel or religious music or touring with secular music, but I'm gonna just strictly because Chris kind of touched on something in the comments. I'm gonna put his comment up there real quick.
The comments.
There's so many comments I wanted to go back to. I guess I'm glad now that you've been typing at them because I thought we were going to get to all of them, but we've just been jumping around. But so Stephanie made a comment. I'll put that up there first. The God would love you if you were tone deaf and still sang out. And then Chris.
Meaning your value is outside of your, what you can do. You don't earn your worth in God's eyes.
So here's the thing. I've been involved in a lot of church music departments over the years where in any given volunteer-based organization, you work with who you have, which means you're not always going to have the highest caliber of singers and musicians. If you don't have the budget to hire the highest caliber singers and musicians. And so, and churches will often use the argument of, well, if somebody has a willing heart, then let them sing. But, and it's true that God will receive them. But the problem is if you put people on a microphone in a professional setting that aren't up to a certain standard of excellence, even though God might receive that, sometimes other people are not able to. And so sometimes you run the risk of turning people away that are there to seek something from God but can't get. I mean, I'll admit it in myself. If I go to a church and the music is too terrible, it's a lot harder for me to receive from God. And so that's why, you have to still try to set a certain standard of excellence outside of the spiritual aspect of things when you're in a spiritual environment, because the people that are there to receive are still human beings, and they're not going to be 100% in the spirit. They're going to be.
They don't know your heart,
and so
context. Somebody who was it said context is everything. There's a time and a place for all of it.
So
yep. Well, Chris's counterpoint is about intention. His counterpoint is about intention, and he's appreciating your thoughts on this.
So even though God may receive and love something that is less than a certain standard, he still wants us to provide the best that we can provide so that other people may receive. And that's kind of where again, I set the standard using myself as a base because that's the only way I know how to do it. If this is something that would bother me and cause me not to be able to receive from God, if we're in church, from the artist, if we're in a second, from whatever it is I'm supposed to get out of it, if this is subpar enough to the fact that it would affect my ability to receive, then I don't feel like I have the right to expect anybody else to receive anything from it, even though in a lot of cases they do, because other people may not be as tuned into it as I am. But
if I may, but never mind. Go on.
No, go right ahead.
I was going to extrapolate that to comedy, but finish your sentence.
No, please do.
No. Have the last word, Abby, because we're about to close, Deacon.
We're wrapping it up. We need organ music right now. I would say that I feel the same way when here's ways I can go on stage not bringing my A game that always make me feel convicted at the end of it. Not looking the part, not knowing what I want to say, drinking on stage, like not having like a what do you call it? The right timing, pacing, and that can be affected by alcohol. And so I think I don't even like to attack the audience if they're heckling unless it's necessary. Like I'll shame you like a teacher would. Like I'll shut it down if I need to shut it down. But usually I'm not gonna make it personal because it's not personal. I know. I'm like Claire Huxtable. I'm like Claire. But I think that those kind of things, if you're not, that's different than holding yourself to a standard of like, oh, I wasn't perfect, or veering into imposter syndrome of like, oh, they liked it, but I'm really nothing. Like, it's not that. It's more like, I let them down. They deserve better. Let's put it that way. I don't think I say let them down, but I do say they deserve better than that. And so, as best I can, I try to make sure that I have jokes that I know I want to tell you. They've been tested. And if it's a new idea, I'm sandwiching it in between two solid old ideas. All that stuff that you can do to make sure a set goes well. I try to leave nothing to chance. And then if anything gets derailed, that's okay. But that's, what I'm saying? Like, that's about being thankful for having the opportunity to perform for them. So I show up, with my best foot forward.
Sure. I get that. That's fair. Well, I have enjoyed this conversation, but if Abby is anything like I am, I have things to eat and things to say to the people in my house, and I'm not going to let Dan Spiffy Neuman hijack any more of my time for the evening.
Michael has spoken.
So, do you have anything you want to address, or any questions you want to ask Michael or myself before we wrap up, Abby?
Sure. I'll be happy to, if you do. I'm more than happy to oblige you.
Can I come back sometime?
We would love it.
Jinx. Okay, it is written. It's done. I'll be there.
So we don't know when we're doing the next one, but we do this thing we call it Musipolitics Classic, where on select first Tuesdays, we don't have a guest, but instead we encourage all our past guests to drop in. And we would love it if you would. I will send you the invite when we do one of those, and then of course we'd love to have you back for another episode.
Mm-hmm.
Soon, if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be here. I'm in my house.
Yeah, there's so many things we didn't even talk about.
Yeah, when I have something to promote, I'd love to come back. I should have something in the works coming up shortly. But in the meantime,
that was going to be my next question: is if you had anything to promote.
I do. On October 22nd, I'll be hosting a gala called Girl Be Heard. Every year they have a fundraising gala event, and this is a nonprofit in New York City that kind of empowers young women of color, and we are honoring Viola Davis, so she will be making a special appearance in a streaming gala. I will be wearing sequins, and that's October
in the
22nd at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, and then hopefully you will see me on the small screen soon in a project. I just finished shooting something, and I won't get to talk about it until we know it's actually going to see the light of day, but fingers crossed. So I'll be back to talk more about that.
Can you please make sure that I have the link to the gala so that I can, did I say that right? Gala. So that I can post that on all the Music Politics platforms.
Yes.
I know you're not on Facebook much. We have a Facebook group as well as the regular page where, you're welcome to post any of your stuff in there, and our regular family, listener base is very supportive. So you can pretty much expect to see them if you post something.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, I just direct messaged it to you. Oh, it says you can't be direct messaged. All right, forget that.
Where did you send it to me? How can I not be direct messaged?
Well, I'm on Twitter right now. Sorry, that's Twitter. I'll put it in the YouTube. Where do you want me to put it? Just email you. I have it right
whatever.
now.
I'll get all of them. I'll figure out why I can't get you on Twitter, and I'll get. Is it because I'm not following you?
It could be because your account's private. I'm not sure. Maybe you're not following. But
my account's not private.
girlbeheard.org/gala2020 is where you can get your tickets.
Okay, well, we'll make sure that we put that up.
Thank you both for having me. I appreciate it.
This has been one of the few episodes where we really haven't kept up with the comments, so I will go back and I will address any of the comments that I missed, and answer any questions. Abby's been doing it while we're on the air because she's Superwoman.
I only got hip to that about 45 minutes ago. I'm like, oh, I see.
Boom.
All right. Show me something.
Yeah, I tried to do it earlier on. I have trouble enough just like sharing the thing because I've been consistently trying to share the broadcast and stuff. It's just, please make sure you follow Abbi Curly Comedy on Instagram and Twitter.
And my Facebook page. That's the same. It's Curly Comedy everywhere. And we're all learning from each other tonight, which is the best kind of conversation.
We try.
Yeah, these are, like I said, I love these. We never know where they're gonna go. I didn't know that you were a spiritual person. I'm not surprised, but I didn't know that about you. I didn't know that you had a foreign relations degree from Georgetown, so we'll have to get into that next time.
There's a lot going on in here.
I know. There's so much. Was there anything else that you wanted? You got enough Prince stories out of Michael?
Oh, me? Anything I want from you guys? I'll save it for next time.
Okay. Then, thank you everyone who's been with us tonight. So real quick, for anybody who's new, Maya put the link up too. For anybody who's new, we'll let you know what we have coming up. We hope to see if any of Abby's people, I know her sister was here, any of your other people want to stick with us and join the family, we'd love to have you. So the next 2 weeks are the second and third part in our 3-part installment featuring Black women politicians from around the country. We have Representative Sheila Stubbs from here in Wisconsin, and then Representative Jasmine Crockett from Texas. And then November 3rd, Michael, what do we have on November 3rd?
You have election night with Soul Asylum. We're going to talk about everything.
So all the current touring members of Soul Asylum will be here on the show.
Cool.
That is Dave Perner, Jeremy Tapro,
who was
Ryan
in the comments. He did nice when he
let's put
Ryan Smith.
There he is.
Where is he?
4 of us.
I saw his comment and now I can't.
He said, "Nice one."
There he is.
Yeah.
But much to Tiffany's dismay, his hair will not be joining us on election night. We're all very disturbed by that. Jeremy was not supposed to cut his hair. So that sorry, Michael, I probably interrupted you.
That's it. That's all there is to it. Just election night with Soul Asylum. We're gonna we'll talk about
how do I get verified, Abby?
Oh yeah, let's save that for next time.
Okay. Because there have been way too many imposter accounts made of me.
What?
I know. Okay. You wouldn't think I'm that important.
It's those glasses. It's that glasses group.
But the glasses just started. That's a new thing. Michael's cranky because I'm over time. Okay.
Take your punishment, man. You know your wife is waiting to talk to you.
All right.
You
Good
don't
night.
remind her that I got in trouble. She probably forgot by now.
As much as you are with my wife, you think I'm gonna let you off the hook?
I don't get you in trouble with your wife. Hey, Kim.
You get me in enough of the trouble that I don't want to be in. There's good trouble and there's bad trouble.
What plant-based dinner does Kim have prepared for you tonight?
Oh man, I think she said that she went to the what's the name of the company? I could wait a minute. Let me see if I can remember it on my own.
Can you show it on camera?
It's just a pasta. It's a fettuccine bolognese, and I've used plant-based meat.
Cool.
And I thought it was so funny that y'all started talking about plant-based meat.
And are those strips of basil? That's like a fresh green on top.
That's how we roll.
I can smell it now.
And now the cat's coming in here.
I say, hey, Ernie.
I gotta wrap it up.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Abby.
Your thoughts and just being all around, just number one with us.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Dan, I'll talk to you later.
Oh, I'm in trouble with Michael too. Good night.